A deaf person is someone with a hearing loss, but behind a hearing loss expressed in decibels lies a whole series of issues: language choice, communication mode, self-perception and identity. Hearing loss and deafness are related to the volume of sound that a person can perceive, and also to the pitch or frequency of sound.
Originally it was when I was born, but it wasn't actually officially recognised until I was in primary 1, because there used to be compulsory hearing tests. Before that, obviously when I was a baby growing up, there was signs that I wasn't picking up stuff, like my mum or my gran or my dad would maybe saying something and my other brother were reacting and turning around, but I would just keep walking on or ignore them. So that's when I thought there might have been something like a problem. And then there were compulsory hearing tests in primary 1, so I'd been about 4 years of age. It wasn't totally different from your average person, because I can hear, as well, I'm not completely deaf, I can hear like talking, music, I can hear my friends shouting. It was different from the point that I had to go to speech therapy for a couple of years when I was in primary, and I went there for about 5 or 6 years. I'm still getting the term with them words as well. But it wasn't a major difference. I do know some of my other friends who are probably different from the point of view they can't hear at all, so I'm quite lucky in that respect that I can hear music, so it wouldn't have been exactly too difficult. But then again, for me, I'm just quite easy going, so it doesn't really bother me anything at all.
About 3 in 1,000 babies are born with hearing impairment, making it the most common birth defect. A hearing problem can also develop later in life. To understand how and why hearing loss happens, it helps to know how the ear works. Sound waves travel into the ear, making their way to a snail-shaped object called the cochlea. Once inside, they encounter hair cells that transmit the sound to the brain, but those tiny hair cells essential to our hearing can die if exposed to loud noise over long periods of time.
Action Hearing Loss is a national charity working with deaf and hard of hearing people. We aim to make sure that people who are deaf and hard of hearing are able to participate effectively within society through support, information and knowledge. I manage a project called Here to Help. Here to Help works with hearing aid wearers, and we work with those hearing aid wearers post-fit, which means when they've had their hearing aid fitted, we support them in terms of ongoing maintenance and support in a community setting. The majority of hearing aid wearers tend to be a bit older, and to stop them having to trek up to the hospital and to free hospitals up to do other audiology work, we provide a service in community centres, health centres, basically anywhere where people meet. And what we do at those events is people come in and we would replace their batteries and change the tubing on their hearing aid. Community centres, libraries, most areas where older people tend to congregate is where you'll find that we have a drop-in. Some of those drop-ins were looking to be a bit more innovative. For example, B&Q have a pensioner discount day on a Wednesday, so we're looking at providing drop-ins in B&Q, and we've recently just established a link with Gala Bingo with a view to going and delivering hearing aid maintenance in bingo halls over tea time.
I'm Donna McSwiggan. I'm the project coordinator for the Here to Help project across Greater Glasgow and Clyde. Okay, so this bit of equipment here is a hearing aid, and is probably one of the most important bits of equipment you will use if you have a hearing loss. This part here, the brown coloured bit, is the actual hearing aid itself, and that's where the noise becomes amplified. The bit of tubing here is really important as well, which a lot of people don't know, and this is where the sound travels down into the ear mould and into the person's ear. Because a lot of people don't know how important this is, they sort of neglect to get it changed every couple of months, and it becomes blocked with different things such as earwax, condensation, sometimes bits of dirt can get in it, and it stops the sound travelling down into the mould into the ear, and it stops the hearing aid being effective. If this isn't changed for around a year or so, the hearing aid basically becomes defunct, it stops working. So it is important that people know that their tubing in their hearing aid should be changed every 3 months. This wee compartment here is the battery compartment where the battery sits in. And again, a lot of people put these in their hearing aids and think that they last forever. Unfortunately, they'll last a week as well. So it is important, again, similar to the tubing, that people know when they should be changed and that they're changing them as regularly as possible.
I've been lucky enough to represent the Scotland Deaf team, and I represented Great Britain in 2009 at the Deaf Olympics, which is just like the Olympics or the Paralympics, so it's a quite big thing in the deaf world. That was in Taiwan, so I've been to quite a few places which other people might not, which is quite lucky for me as well. But I don't need a lot of need to accommodate me because I play in goals, so it's not too much of a major difference, you know. If I were playing like outfield in football, then it would be quite difficult because I might not hear the whistle, but because I'm in goals, it's not as bad. When there's deaf games on, like the deaf teams and they play in the country, the referee can't use a whistle obviously because nobody will hear him. So he uses a white flag and he'll just shake his white flag around. And obviously there's linesmen as well for that. It's not, up in Scotland here, it's not too much of a major problem for me because I'm in goal. So.
For more information, please visit www.actiononhearingloss.org.uk.
If most people are aware of a deaf person's disabilities, sometimes they might have to ask you to repeat questions once, twice, 3, 4 times. I know some people might get a wee bit angry and frustrated with that, but they need to kind of realise the person's got a disability, might not hear first time. Also, it doesn't make them any different from any other person in the fact they can't hear. Well, I say can't hear, some of them can't hear completely, but some are just, you know, profoundly deaf. Just being understanding, you know, because nobody's perfect at the end of the day anyway.